And what I do is try to get it so that up to the base of the calf, so the area that I'm going to tape is nice and exposed. So when we look at, it's blocked. So when we look at position the athlete, dorsiflexion is this. When they're bringing their foot up and trying to, I always say toes to the nose. So trying to touch their toes to their nose. This provides a good tight, close pack position of the bones in the ankle. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead, once you get the position, if I have my tough skin, I'll spray it very gently. Some guys will take and go so they're dripping wet. You just need a light mist just to get it tacky so that the tape can grip and provide support. Then those heel lace pads are like squares, like 2x2, with a little bit of a skin lubricant. And what we'll do is we'll put one on top, so right on the front of the joint line, and then one will go right behind. And then with that, then I'll go ahead and do my pre-wrap. The pre-wrap, whenever you apply pre-wrap, when you guys practice, make sure that the roll sits on top. Some people, when they do, they go this way where the roll is underneath, and it really makes your wrinkles and your rolls more prominent. So if you want to have better control, this always works for me, and I'll just pass that along to you. You can try it either way, but whenever you put the rolls on top, and just go light. You don't necessarily have to go really tight because this form fits around angles and so on and so forth. So what we'll do is have a person in position. We have our tough skins applied. Imagine we have our heel lace pads. And then what we'll do as we apply the pre-wrap, start in the middle of the foot. So you can see not too far down where you want to make sure that the balls of the ball of the foot, or what we call the metatarsal heads, are free and clear. We don't want to bind them up because when you run and get on your tippy toes, that's really uncomfortable. They need to kind of expand at some point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap by half. Now, if you see that this is loose, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. We'll do is we'll go ahead and those kind of flatten out once we do the tape. Now, if we go to the white tape and you got big wrinkles, that's a problem. But on pre-wrap, just go real light. It's okay. So what I do is I'll go ahead, overlap by half. And as you can see here, as I go to like the back contour of the heel, you can see how it's a little bit loose. But if you can see as I overlap and I come in, I'm just going to fold that and kind of tighten it up a little bit. So like I said, medium tension will allow it for it to kind of form fit to the contours of the body part. Once I get all the way to the top, I want to go to the base of the calf, just like that. So like these, I'm not too worried about. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into my white tape. And I'm going to go ahead and do my anchors. So as you see here, I talked about 2 to 3 strips at the top. And what I'm going to do is overlap those by half. So I have a really nice and wide anchor as a good base to some of my supportive strips. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to do one light anchor around the foot. So go real light, very gentle, because I want to allow for expansion. I want to be comfortable when Charlotte puts weight on it and her foot has to expand. I'm not going to kind of cramp her foot. So once I do that, then I'm going to go to the alternating stirrup and horseshoe strips. So the stirrup is going to be vertical. Okay, so you're going to see these vertical strips. The horseshoe is going to go horizontal. All right. The way that I like to do it is the stirrup strips, I want to go, if you use what we call the malleoli, so does everybody feel like on your ankles that bump on either side, the inside, outside of your ankle? Use that as a kind of a reference. You're going to do a strip that's going to be posterior, it's on the back third, and then you're going to do a locking horseshoe strip or horizontal strip, and then you're going to boot one that's going to cover directly on top of it, and do another like a locking strip, and then finally the last vertical strip is going to go to the kind of the front third, the anterior third, with another lock strip. So, like I said, usually you kind of stand up and do it. I'm going to try to do it kneeling so everyone can kind of see. So bear with me if it's not too pretty. But I'm going to go ahead and start from the inside. And really you have to look at the athlete, because the athlete might have, you got to look at the way they sprained it, because you want to prevent that motion from happening. Typical ankle sprains, what we call an inversion ankle sprain. Sole of the foot is going to roll inward. You're going to stretch and sprain a lot of the ligaments on the outer part of the ankle. So as you can see, I'm starting from the inside, and I want to pull towards the area of injury because I want to support it. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is kind of give a little bit of a pull and trying to lock that foot to protect those ligaments right here on the outside. So that's my first strip. Then what I'm going to do is kind of go as close as I can to above those malleoli, those parts of the bone. This is actually the end of the tibia, or sorry, the fibula, and this one on the medial malleolus is the end of the tibia, so the lower leg bones. So I'm going to come across, lock that first set in, and you can see I'm going to start to create the weave. So now I'm going to go, my second one is going to be kind of over the malleoli itself. And then I'm going to also overlap this locking strip. And you can see I'm not trying to put all three on one. I want it to spread out. And then I'm finally, my last one, I'm going to go ahead and apply to the front third. Make sure that's nice and smooth, good enough tension. And then I'm going to go ahead and overlap my final time. So as you can see, I'm trying to overlap here, provide a lot of coverage, support that ankle joint, and also protect those ligaments. So that's 3 and 3, alternating stirrup or vertical strip, as well as a horizontal or horseshoe strip. Once I've done that, then I'm going to go to my figure 8s. So the figure 8s, one of the things, once you start getting into the figure 8s, and this will take some time for you to kind of visualize, but you have to look at angles. Once you kind of identify and view the angles on the person's kind of body contour, and know that if you can apply tape at a 90-degree angle to whatever the contour is, you can reduce your risk of wrinkles and rolls and whatnot. So even how you start a strip or start a technique may help prevent or may create more wrinkles. So for example, with Charlotte, if I'm going to do also make sure that she maintains position, because that's very key. That's why for you guys, when you're working on people, if you see the foot start to drop, tell them, hey, get your foot up, because that's going to also make wrinkles for you as well. So the figure 8, I'm going to start at the top, and as you can see how I apply the tape, it's almost kind of vertical. It's almost kind of straight up and down. I want to come around the foot gently, and I'm going to cross over where I started. So if you like how you're drawing a figure 8, okay, you got the bottom circle. Now I've got the bottom circle of the figure 8. But you also, too, want to kind of angle the tape so that now I'm going to do a loop around the upper part of the ankle. For you guys, tear the tape. You get to the point where you can do it without stopping, but for you guys, I want to make sure that you guys can kind of get your angles every time. That's going to be very key. So once you do your first figure 8, you're going to make sure now you kind of overlap a little bit so you got good coverage. And once you overlap, that's going to help prevent a lot of gaps and what have you in your taping technique. So then now I do my second. I kind of went around. Like I said, I apologize, kind of difficult kneeling, but you should be standing kind of facing the athlete. So there's my second one, and then I'm going to do my final one. Try to overlap even a little bit more. Hopefully I get the right contour. Going to cross just like that. So that's my 3. So, oh, that's really ugly. But try to get 3 figure 8s. Now, as you can see how figure 8s, I started here, right? Okay, now I'm going to do my heel lock. So we're going to create a cup. And what we're going to try to do is lock that heel into the ankle joint for more support. Now watch the difference. And this is the one thing talking about angles. So rather than here, like I do for the figure 8, I'm going to now move it to a 45-degree angle because I'm going to loop around the heel. So now as I go down around the heel, back to where I started. You can see hopefully it's smooth. So I can't see, I'm trying to do it blind. And then what I'll do is that sets me up for the other side. You got to do a lateral loop and a medial loop for it to count as 1. So then now I'm going to go and do the other side. As you can see how I kind of create this little bit of a basket and a cup for the heel. And I'm always, for me, I always pull up. So if you're ever coming down, some individuals and some certified athletic trainers, when they pull, they're pulling down. That's fine. But for this one, the way I'm teaching you, everything's going to be always pulling up because I want to lock that heel for a more supportive position with the ankle. So I'll do another one. Let's see. I'll try to do it blind. But you see how I'm starting on the top, but I'm angling towards 45-degree angle, down and around the heel. Finish where you started. And that just sets you up for the other side, down, around the heel, finish where I started. Now, for those that are having this view right here, what do you see underneath the heel? It's almost like a cross. I got a supportive cross here, a supportive crossover. So I'll do one more. This will be my third. So I'm going to come around. And also, too, look at the back of the heel. The back of the heel has an open hole.